Microsoft and Apple going back and forth all week. Do you think it's a sign of what's to come, a not great sign of what's to come for Apple?
Well, I actually think that Apple, because analysts are focused mostly on units and ASPs, or average selling prices, very simplistically, I think it's really reached a period of undervaluation now, having come down this much since earnings. I think they've pushed the pricing envelope a little bit too much, but I think their services business is becoming very interesting. Not only the App Store, but all of the ways they're getting involved with healthcare and augmented reality. I think this is going to become more of a services model, which is a more higher multiple, or it'll achieve a higher valuation at the end of the day.
Still, there's this uncertainty about trade. How concerned are you about potential tariffs on the iPhone?
Well, before I heard today that Peter Navarro was back on the invite list to go to Argentina with President Trump, I was much more optimistic. He's a saber rattler, and I thought that they were going to leave him out and let Lighthizer and Larry Kudlow do the work behind the scenes. I do think a lot of work is going on behind the scenes, and I think we're seeing movement from China on their own economy is slowing down, so they are cutting taxes internally, they're cutting import duties, and I have a feeling when we turn around at the end of the day, we're going to see, at the conclusion of negotiations, perhaps not this weekend, lower tariffs throughout the world. And I actually think this is going to be a very positive result long term.
Peter Navarro, one of Trump's top trade advisors, what about Microsoft? Do you see Microsoft going on a longer bull run from here with the rise of the cloud?
Yeah, I think Microsoft has done a lot of things right. In the cloud, of course, gaming, of course, and I think it's earned its way back into the good graces of investors, even though its base business, Windows and so forth, that we see is having more and more technical problems. So I don't think, longer term, I do think Apple will continue to lead the charge. It's going through a period right now of uncertainty just because of very short-term thinking about pricing and units. But you've got upwards of 1 billion users of iPhones and other Apple products around the world, and that's only growing year by year. So we're pretty excited about the long-term prospects for Apple.
What about Amazon, Cathie? Because this is a company that's faced verbal and Twitter assaults from the president, now under fire from German regulators, which we're going to talk about a little bit later in the show. Do you think tariffs could have a big impact on Amazon, given the company's reliance on these third-party sellers?
I don't think so. I think at the end of the day, Amazon is all about customer first, delighting the customer. And I think that's awfully hard for politicians to fight when their electorates love a product. And I feel the same way about Apple. So if we get temporary tariffs, I do think they will be just that, temporary. These are products that delight the consumer, and these are the people that politicians want to make happy.
Now, the Wall Street Journal is reporting that the Trump administration has set up this roundtable with tech executives, including the CEOs of Microsoft and Google, Sundar Pichai, who is scheduled to testify on Capitol Hill next week. Do you think anything promising can come out of a meeting like this that, would impact an investment strategy?
Well, I do think it's good that they're talking, much better than arguing in the media. So, and I think that at the end of the day, President Trump wants our innovative leaders to continue to dominate out there. We do see that China has on its set of priorities being #1 in artificial intelligence and all kinds of technology, and I think President Trump is responding to that. So I think we'll be in a how do we work together mode as opposed to an adversarial mode. So I think it's good news.
Meantime, Cathie, Facebook's in the middle of a PR nightmare, and shares are way down since that July peak. Concerns that go all the way to the very top, Mark Zuckerberg and Sheryl Sandberg, and how they handled Russian election meddling, fake news. Do you think that this is going to continue to punish the stock? given that we haven't yet seen concrete evidence that this is impacting engagement among users?
Well, we got the first signs in their last quarterly report that it has impacted engagement slightly, not as much as many might have thought. What we are also seeing, though, is in terms of top brands, Facebook is losing its status there. And when that happens, usually we do have periods of underperformance by the business and by the stocks. Thank goodness they have Instagram, WhatsApp, Messenger, and other properties to monetize, because we do think they are going to be continuing to lower the ad loads on Facebook proper and trying to right that ship. They have a little bit of work to do.
How optimistic are you that Instagram, WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, though, can pick up the slack?
Yeah, it's going to be hard. Facebook is incredibly important to them. So I wouldn't be surprised to see more disappointments. They're coming off very rapid growth. And we also know that television advertising is starting to find its way online. There aren't many places to go. So Facebook's one of the biggest. Google, of course, Twitter, Amazon, in fact, is getting a lot of advertising now, now that it is effectively becoming a search engine when it comes to commerce. So I don't think all is lost. I don't think the advertising is going to disappear from Facebook. There just are not a lot of outlets for online advertising at scale.
Now, I also got to ask you about Tesla. It has been a rocky year for Elon Musk, but on the other hand, a pretty successful year when you look at Model 3 production. What is the year coming for Tesla hold, given that there's also some political uncertainty in terms of how the administration plans to handle electric car, tax credits, and tariffs on auto imports?
Yes, well, according to our research at ARK, we spend all of our time doing research on disruptive innovation. We think that electric vehicles are not going to need subsidies in a few years, and in many ways they don't need them now. We're capacity constrained on batteries, so it's very interesting that Tesla's Model 3 was the #1 selling car, no matter whether electric or gas-powered, in the United States in the third quarter, if you measure by revenue. We think Tesla's on its way. It took a long time to get the manufacturing process right, and they still are working out bugs, but we think they're on their way. It's a little bit like with SpaceX. It took them a long time to figure out how to land those rockets on barges in the middle of the ocean. Once they did it, they've been doing it very successfully ever since, almost flawlessly. We think that we're dealing with the same sorts of situation right now.